So this is my remote viewing analysis of the Jonny Gotsch case. So on the morning of September 5th, 1982, as he was delivering newspapers, there's an overwhelming sense of premeditation, a well-coordinated plan rather than a random act, right? I was seeing like a suburban neighborhood that was quiet at that hour, whatever time he was doing his, postal route or his newspaper route. And then the energy changes dramatically when he reaches a particular house or a corner. It feels like there's a point of interception. And there was key figures. I saw two, and one a male and one a female. But the first one was a middle-aged man, one in his like 30s or 40s, older. He has like a commanding presence, and he seems very like methodical, as if like he's trained for such a thing. The vehicle involved was like this large, dark-colored vehicle that looks like a van almost. The vehicle had like severely tinted windows. It was pretty dark, and it was parked like very inconspicuously near this predetermined spot that looked like it was on a corner to me. There was at least two other accomplices, but one is a driver and the other one is a female, somebody who helps like restrain or is involved. It could be a male, but I sense female. Then they all appear to have known each other beforehand. Johnny is approached like while he's in motion, like he's delivering his papers, right? And then one man like distracts him, possibly under the guise of like asking him for directions or some kind of question. The interaction's like really short, but it's tense. Like he feels something weird's going on. And then there's a physical altercation. Like they open the door and then he resists when the situation escalates. But he's overpowered by these people. And a hand is placed over his mouth. I saw that. And like he can't breathe, like no noise comes out, and he's forced into the vehicle. I see him pulling backwards. And it feels like it happens really quickly, like with less than a minute, and boom, 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 they're gone. And he's driven to like the significant distance out of the immediate area. And then I sense like rural roads, secluded property, likely far removed from any public view. And this location feels associated with some type of like farming or like a storage facility. I saw like a barn. But like not a barn exactly. But this wasn't a random crime, you guys. This feels like a part of a larger network. These individuals were tasked with like taking him for specific purposes, possibly related to exploitation or trafficking with the other letter before it. The primary abductor feels like this middle-aged man, like I said, in his 30s or 40s. He has an average to slightly heavy build. He's got dark hair that's like super combed back, like it looks really greasy and goofy. And a face that appears very stern and imitating. Like he looks like a mafia man. There's a distinct sense of calculation and like purpose in his actions. And he does have a criminal history tied to trafficking or exploitation, but he's not an obvious figure. He uses some kind of pseudonym or something, like he operates under the radar now, using different identities. Now, I did sense this female present, but it's like really faint. So it's possible she may have been involved, but like indirectly, either through like logistical support or as part of this organization. But it feels like a really heavy duty organization, okay? And her role feels secondary. Like she provided false comfort or was the one that came in as like the good cop, bad cop situation. And this man that was the orchestrator or the leader of the operation, he wasn't like working alone, but he had like this direct hand in controlling the events leading up to his disappearance. And it seemed like they were looking for him specifically, like they had their eye on like him. So the energy around this case feels connected to like this highly organized and secretive group that is still going on right now. And it appears to operate across state lines and has ties to individuals in positions of power. Now, who am I? I'm just a remote viewer. I don't know anything, so take it for what it's worth. But his disappearance seems to be linked to an underground network that traffics children for things. There is a really unsettling sense of coercion and control being like a central theme. And so when I asked like, what are the initial days of like what happened to him? He was alive and he was transported to a facility that feels like this some kind of holding area. I saw like a trekking place and then like this facility, and it's guarded and it's highly controlled. So then over time he seems to have been moved like many, many times, crossing state lines and even leaving the country briefly. And it feels like he left the country and then really wasn't seen again. But he also feels like he was subjected to psychological manipulation or given like medicines or rugs with the D. There were individuals that I saw in the neighborhood who saw unusual activity, particularly involving the vehicle. These details might not have been fully reported or investigated at the time, but they would be helpful now, okay? And there's also something that was left behind at the site that holds subtle but important clues and traces, like tire marks or personal items that could have provided leads, but that for some reason they weren't taken. I don't know. So when I asked him of proof of life status right now, there's a strong feeling that he remained alive for many years after his abduction, but however, his energy feels super faint now. I couldn't pull him through, and it suggests that he may longer be with this world. But if he is, he's likely pulled back his energy and he's living in a small, unremarkable town or area under an assumed identity because he doesn't want to he wants to avoid any public attention, and because they conditioned him to basically, like, I don't know if he got away, but that chance is really slim to none. So if you want to remote view this target yourself, the numbers are 5002-7760. Again, 5002-7760. Okay. And this case is pretty well known because it's like he was one of the first people to go on a milk box carton. Okay. And that's significant for a lot of reasons, because this was used back in the day as a major way to know who was missing. It's a very old case, but the reason I even tuned into it, somebody asked me to please do this case, and I wanted to because I felt like it had something to do with what's going on now, into the trafficking situation. So I don't know, you guys tell me what you think, what impressions you get, and please remote view it for yourself. If you don't know how to remote view, please reach out to me. I do a lesson on remote viewing. It's 2 hours long. And yeah, you can book it in my TikTok or in my link in my shop, because it's pretty amazing. You will glean a lot of information. All right. Thanks, guys.